Hello and welcome to this very special edition of What's Poppin' in Pop Culture, brought to you by Conquest Journals and powered by Geek Vibes Nation as well. I am KJ. The next KJ Today show is coming up next Wednesday night, August 7th, but I am joined by our entertainment correspondent, Tia from Geek Vibes Nation, because we couldn't wait to talk about there's so much going on, and just San Diego Comic-Con wrapping up and trying to digest everything. And then we have, the Olympics going on. I'm just going to let Tia take it away because really, honestly, the reason we're here is because Tia texted me and said, can we do a What's Poppin'? Because there's just so much we need to talk about.
I definitely bullied KJ into saying we need to do this. Sorry, can't wait.
Oh no, we need to talk about all the news coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. That sounds terrible. Oh. No, I was like, yes, let's do it.
Yes. And I mean, the Olympics are going on right now. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm definitely someone who enjoys the Olympics. It's like the one time I'm into sports.
Okay, yeah. So let's get into it. What's poppin', Tia, in the Olympics?
I was trying my best to like get a picture that wasn't overly grotesque, because if you know what this is about, it's like they obviously had some grotesque moments in it. So anyway, I'm just gonna go on. So the story that I want to talk about, I am a huge heavy metal fan, and the French band Gojira made its Olympic premiere. It made history, honestly, as the first metal band to ever perform during the opening ceremony.
So awesome.
It was so awesome. I was sitting there and I was like, this is so cool. I don't even know who this band is, but now I want to, obviously. But it's metal, and you have like Maria Antoinette, that whole thing, and then all of a sudden they're literally like, it was so cool. It was so cool. I don't even know that I was literally in my living room standing up but headbanging while it was going on. That's how cool it was. And I mean, there were so many amazing moments to the opening ceremony to the Paris Olympics, but Gojira being the first heavy metal band was so awesome.
I just loved everything about it. I mean, it was so it felt a little bit like a hot mess at times. Like, we're so used to the opening ceremonies being very serious and in the stadium and very, prestigious. And Paris was like, let's party, dudes. It's spring break. Like that, it felt like the spring break opening ceremonies. And I was here for it. I was actually nervous because we had my family over and my nieces and nephews. This was their first opening ceremonies. And I'm like, gosh, if it was like Beijing or something like that, I mean, those were beautiful, but I'm like, I don't know that they're going to care. So I had my basement set up for them to like go down and play games and do whatever. And they were watching it. I mean, when they started, like, I'm like, wait a second, every country's coming in on a boat. Are you
I thought that
me?
was so cool. That was so cool. To me, it was like, as you said, it's very exciting to see all the different countries come throughout the stadium, right, and walk and wave and everything. But the boats was cool. The boats,
yes,
that was a cool touch.
I do remember at one point I was like, wait, where are they going? Like, there's no stadium. Are they just doing drive-bys with the country? Like, what?
I didn't even think about that, actually. Like, where were the boats heading to?
Where were the boats going? Did the athletes get to get off the boats? Like, I had so many questions, but it was so fun. It just I loved it. It was so different from anything else, and I know it was a bit disjointed from what we're used to with the opening ceremonies, but it's going to be when they're outside doing it. It's
Yes.
pouring down rain. They're like coordinating so much more than what you do when you're in a stadium and you have all of the elements under your control. I thought it was fabulous.
I agree. I liked so obviously they had the masked person jumping all throughout Paris with the torch and
Yes.
everything. And I thought they did a good job coordinating, obviously, the pre recorded sections to the live sections. That went very well.
Yes.
And Celine Dion performed. And when people, even herself, thought that she would probably never sing live again. So that
Yeah.
was huge.
Oh my gosh, it was the coolest. I couldn't even believe it. And then when they zoom out, right, and it makes you realize how big the Eiffel Tower is
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because she's got a full stage set up there and they zoom out and you can't even tell she's there.
No, no, she was just a little blip.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean Lady Gaga just having a blast doing her thing. I I loved every second of it. Uh,
I thought it was a great opening. Again, as you said, it was maybe at parts a little disjointed, but fun, right? Something
yes,
different.
yes, for
And
sure.
yeah, it was very cool.
So now
Also,
are you watching the games?
so I'm not watching every single game, but I'm my favorites are watching gymnastics. Obviously, Simone Biles is dominating everything. I
Mhm.
like the swimming. I've enjoyed racing, not race, track and everything.
Yeah.
So I try to watch where I can. The men's U.S. gymnastics team is doing phenomenal right now, and that makes me
Yeah.
really happy. I did gymnastics when I was younger, so I
You
guess
did?
so I'm just really interested in that.
Oh, I love the gymnastics. Listen, I am, a bit older than you, and, I mean, like, my first memories of the Olympics, is the US gymnastics team and Mary Lou Retton, and she was, yeah, like, a little tiny thing, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be a gymnast," you know?
She was
I'm
inspiring.
I was not coordinated enough to be a gymnast, not one bit. But yeah, I enjoy that part. I'm not gonna hide the fact that I think the Winter Olympics are far superior.
Yes, 100%. Just because they have ice skating, that makes it 100% superior to me.
I mean, the ice skating and all of the skiing, like, they're just like, it's almost the extreme games without saying it's extreme games, right? I mean, it's pretty amazing. And then you've got the curling. I'm from Wisconsin, which is like the world capital of curling. And it's just like so random that we're all enthralled with people with a broom on the
It
ice. Just
my when we first saw that, I remember like years and years ago, obviously my mom would be like, I could do this. I mean, anyone who's into curling, please don't get at us right now. Okay. Someone's going to be like, you don't understand. It's a
right.
very intensive
My
sport.
family will come after you, Tia.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't do any of it. So, hi, Michelle, by the way.
Hi, Michelle. Paul says he is a curling fan. Michelle, thanks for the update. Men's team got bronze today, their first medal in 16 years. That is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I could, talk about the Olympics forever, but I know that that's
Yeah.
that's not really. Everybody's like in the comments is like, can we talk about San Diego Comic Con, please? Because that's
I'm
basically what I told them
sorry.
we were here for. All right, what's up next, Tia?
All right. So obviously San Diego Comic-Con was this past weekend. I mean, there was a plethora of amazing news that came out. I can't even begin to cover every single little thing. I mean, from the tiny but mighty Winona Earp Vengeance, the new upcoming 90-minute special on Tubi, getting a trailer, to the
Yeah.
Penguin getting an update. but my thing is that I want to talk about, obviously, is The Boys had a panel, which obviously season 4 just ended. The Boys had a panel, and during the panel, it was confirmed that Jensen Ackles obviously will be returning for season 5, but he will be a series lead. And not only that, but they are doing a prequel show called Vought Rising that will have Jensen Ackles and Aya Cash return. Aya Cash played Stormfront in, I believe it was season 2, now that I remember, season 2 of The Boys. And it's going to take place in the 1950s. And it makes sense because there's a scene in season 3 of The Boys where Soldier Boy talks about being with, I forget the whole name, but it was the soup named Liberty, who was Stormfront. So clearly those two had a relationship. So we're going to see some sort of craziness in Vought Uprising, or Vought Rising. I apologize. But Jensen Ackles is amazing. As he said, you can't get rid of him, and we don't want to. And Soldier Boy is unhinged and unfiltered, and Stormfront is a really crazy character, so it's going to be insane with the two of them.
Yeah, so listen, I was in a place where I was like, especially, and I love The Boys, but oh my gosh, I mean, the absurdity of it all, some of the violence and the uncomfortableness that this show makes you feel. I was kind of in a place where I'm like, I can do this for one more season. I can do this for one more season. And they're like, surprise, Jensen Ackles, prequel. You're going to keep doing this. And I was like, yeah, I am. You're right.
I'll keep doing it. And I mean, you do also have Gen V. I don't know if you've actually watched Gen V yet.
We have not. It was, of course, as soon as we finished The Boys, no spoilers, it came up as like the next suggested thing to watch. And I was like, oh, Tia watched that. You said it was pretty good, right?
Yeah, I think it's a good show to kind of, it was especially when it came out, it was before season 4 of The Boys, and it was a good show to tie you over until it wasn't necessary to see the two characters that was in The Boys, right? The two college age kids. I mean, they show up obviously in Gen V. It wasn't, say, as good as The Boys, but it definitely will tie you over. Season 2 will be interesting.
Okay.
But yeah, you still have more The Boys content, KJ. So
there was part of me that was like, you know what, you can get through this and you won't have to cringe anymore. And then I was like, oh my gosh, because I just keep thinking, like, what else can they do? Like, but I don't want to think about what else they can do.
It's gonna get crazy. If you don't know, The Boys is based on a comic series, and which is even wilder than the show, if you could believe it or not. And everyone online who has read the comics say what the finale of season 4 is obviously leading up to in season 5. No spoilers, obviously. You could always Wikipedia it. But the one thing also I wanted to say was there was an article where Jared Padalecki had said that he obviously would be very open to joining The Boys because The Boys is created by Eric Kripke, who creates Supernatural. It's too soon, obviously, if there's any sort of confirmation if Jared Padalecki is actually going to be in season 5 of The Boys. But with them now doing a prequel show, I think that would actually be a very good opportunity to bring him in and have a reunion between Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki.
Yeah. Oh, man. So. I don't want them doing disgusting things.
Not
like, I cannot watch the Winchester brothers do too many.
What they had poor Rob Benedict doing in season 4. Oh my gosh.
I was like, no. I was looking at Patches and not at the TV. And I was like, tell me, I cannot watch him do this. I cannot watch Rob Benedict do this. Like, tell me when it's over. I cannot. And I would like look and I'd be like, oh my God. And he's like, I'll tell you when it's over.
It went on a little too long. I'll say
that. It really did. It really did. Oh. Man.
But it's very exciting that, again, Jensen Ackles will be returning. We're getting a prequel, and it was just cool seeing the cast of the boys on stage at San Diego Comic-Con. But obviously, that's not the real big story that we want to talk about.
The biggest story. Sorry, DC, no news for you.
It just continues perpetuating our like distaste for DC. Although I will say I'm very, very excited for James Gunn's upcoming DC universe. I just have to throw it out before we get to. But back to Marvel. Okay,
all right,
let's
back
get
to
back
Marvel.
Back to Marvel. So, as you can see here, the big thing is, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. It was announced that Robert Downey Jr. will return to the MCU, but he will not be playing Tony Stark. Instead, he will be playing Doctor Doom. On top of that, they brought back the Russo brothers, who, if you didn't realize, the Russo brothers directed all of the best films in the MCU. And they are coming back to direct 2 upcoming Avengers movies. They essentially confirmed that the Kang storyline is dead in the water. That's done. Okay. And they're bringing back RDJ as Doctor Doom, which is insane. I mean, listen, like, so part of me at first didn't necessarily know how to feel about it. Obviously, it's amazing getting Robert Downey Jr. back, and I think getting the Russo brothers was amazing to hear.
For sure.
How they're going to do it when obviously we know RDJ as Tony Stark, but let's just see where they go with it. A lot of people online wanted Cillian Murphy to play Doctor Doom, which would have been cool.
Honestly, I had thought, just by the way they were, what I was reading, that like that was just going to be a done deal. I was a little bit taken aback when the mask came off
and it was Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, I mean, cool, but that's not who I thought was going to be there.
Part of me, and I saw this online, maybe they're going to do a bait and switch, right? They have RDJ come in, he plays Doctor Doom for a movie, but maybe he's not like the actual Doctor Doom, and then like, so I don't know. Let's see what happens with it, right?
He's gotta be like, he's not going to be a variant Doctor Doom.
I know. We got to bring. To me, this is how I feel about it, because we were talking about this a little beforehand, right? Where we don't want to be in the whole wheelhouse of the MCU is dead, right? But you're like, obviously things are a little up in the air. Kevin Feige was like, how do we get this back? All right, we got Deadpool out. Call up the Russo brothers. Call up Robert Downey Jr. Let's get this back on track.
Yes. I love it. And I think, it's such a complex character. And I just watched, honestly, while I went to see Deadpool and Wolverine this morning. Fantastic. Amazing. But I went back and watched the X-Men movies this weekend. We kind of had those on, and then I had the Fantastic Four on last night, because there was some, news about the Fantastic Four as well. Yes. And they put out some footage, which was awesome. And I enjoyed those Fantastic Four movies. I know a lot of people didn't, and they thought they were a little too on the cheesy side. I don't mind, like, if that's how they want to make things. Like, I'm good with a little comic cheese once in a while. But I thought, I thought the representation of Doctor Doom was perfectly fine in the Fantastic Four. But this Robert Downey Jr. taking on the character is going to, I think he will make us forget he was Iron Man. Like, this is not. I think so. This is not going to be a comparison. This is going to be him showing just how incredible of an actor he is.
And I honestly think if Robert Downey Jr. was going to come back into the superhero genre, I think this is a good way for him to do so, because, and now don't get me wrong, right? But obviously Robert Downey Jr. is getting older, so maybe there would be some physical limitations to continuing playing Iron Man. Mm-hmm. Dr. Doom is a lot more, meticulous, and all that stuff. I think it's a better sort of position for him. And I agree with you, KJ. I rewatched those original Fantastic Four movies a couple of years ago. They're great. I still like them. And Doctor Doom was great in it. So I forget
Mhm.
that actor, but he was great. So
Yeah, I totally can't think of his name, which I feel bad about, but I enjoyed how he portrayed Doctor Doom, and you know, I love a little Johnny Storm in my life, so I go back to those movies. It was interesting because but basically my nieces and nephews were over all weekend, and I put those on, and you know, sometimes when you put movies on and you want them to watch it, you're like, "Oh, we're going to watch this movie because I love it so much and you're going to love it so much." And they were all just playing on their devices. And I was like, I'm going to put the Fantastic Four on. And it was right, but probably about halfway through Rise of the Silver Surfer. And my youngest nephew said, "What is this? This is pretty cool." I was like, ah, yes.
that's
so
dope.
So he was like, "Next time we come over, can we watch these on the like watch them on the big screens we have?" It's not a movie theater. It sounds really fancy. It's just a projector with a futon in our basement. But he was like, "Can we watch these in the movie theater next time?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm never gonna say no to watching the Fantastic Four."
I love it. I love it. And I'm very excited for the upcoming Fantastic Four project. Great cast all around. I I've never seen the 2015 version of Fantastic Four. I hear not great things about it, and obviously you must judge yourself. But yeah, so I'm just looking forward to the new one.
I started watching it, and honestly, I was going like, I'm just gonna give this a fair shake. And I was 8 minutes into it, and I was like, nope.
Oh, that's not good.
I was like, nope, this is gonna be as bad as everybody said. I
Wow.
can't, I can't do it. And it's too bad because I thought that cast was great too, you know?
It's a great cast. It's just bad writing, bad direction. I mean, there's a ton of things. Like look at Ryan Reynolds, great actor. That freaking Green Lantern movie, not great.
So bad.
his and forget his first outing as Deadpool in Wolverine 3, I think it was.
Was it Origins?
Origins, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
That was terrible. That
Yeah.
was so bad.
We skipped over that when we were doing our X-Men rewatch. I was like, we're not doing Origins."
Oh man.
But yeah, I think Fantastic Four is just that is sort of my shining light. Whatever the MCU is doing, it's fine. Just give us a really great Fantastic Four, right? Like that's where I'm at. Just
I I'm very confident in Kevin Feige right now. The new Captain America movie looks great. They
mhm.
introduced Thunderbolts. I liked the Black Widow movie. It got a lot of bad
I did
reviews.
too.
I liked it a lot. David Harbour showed up to San Diego Comic Con in a new Red Guardian costume. I thought it looked great.
Oh,
Yeah,
did he?
you got to look it up. It looks great.
Okay.
So Thunderbolts looks great. It all looks great. I'm happy. I'm a happy
Well, and
MCU fan again.
without spoiling anything, it was the Deadpool Wolverine movie. It was, I mean, it was Deadpool in the MCU. And it was, I mean, you had to like kind of like sit back and be like, this is an MCU movie about Deadpool and Wolverine's here too. Like, how cool is this?
it it feels like a dream come true because for so long of the MCU, Fox's Marvel was away, like toys that you couldn't play with, right? And now
Yeah.
we can, and it's just like so happy.
Well, and they did a really fine job with, you know, giving a nice nod to what was with Fox, you know, not knocking it. Like it's just
Right.
like here we are, and now we get to do all these cool things. So it was fun. I thought that that you know, cameos because I had heard, and I'm not gonna spoil anything because one of them got spoiled for me, and I was super bummed about that. But it paced well. I mean, of course, it's ridiculous, and you could probably break down the plot and be like, "Oh, was there really much of a plot?" I mean, like there are holes. It's fine. But I thought the people that they put in it had a reason to be there, not just
Right.
oh, we're gonna throw this person in too, and oh wow, that for a second. Like they actually, I felt like they cast it thoughtfully to introduce Deadpool into the MCU. So that is all I will say about that. I already told Patches that I need to see it again because there are so many one liners and just little quips. And like, you can't take it all in because it's happening and you're still taking in the fact that you're watching Deadpool in the MCU, but there's still all of that witty dialogue and funny quips. And it's a second watch kind of movie in the
I'm
theater.
I'm very excited. My mom and I are going to go see it a few weeks from now, and I just can't get over the fact that Kevin Feige's like, "Yep, let's have an R-rated Marvel movie. Let's just do it at this point." I mean, let's go.
I'm telling you, yeah. And I mean, he let them do what they needed to do.
That's good. That's good. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see this movie. This whole San Diego Comic Con with the Marvel panels really kind of just renewed my joy for Marvel.
Yeah.
So very, very
I
pumped.
I felt like overall this was just a really like big. I mean, San Diego Comic Con's always big, but I feel like the last couple of years, the news coming out of it was kind of so. Like, okay, I guess that's good. And this, I don't even know. Like, props to all of you over at Geek Vibes Nation because I don't even understand how you were keeping up with everything.
I have to give a huge shout out to Jeremy and also Gaius and who were there at San Diego Comic Con. And then also Kanan. Anytime you're on our Geek Vibes Nation Twitter, that's him posting it, everything.
Oh my
So
gosh.
they did an amazing job covering everything. I'm super stoked. And if I could do a little plug, we
Yeah.
we soon will be dropping. Jeremy was able to speak to the star of the new Hellboy movie,
Ooh.
so that interview will be posting soon to our YouTube channel.
Very nice. Yay. I
Yeah.
am excited. And we could also plug the Borderlands
Yes.
interview.
I was so see we I was like, let's do this and everything, and my brain isn't even there. But yes, because you got to speak with Benjamin Byron Davis, which is the coolest thing. So go ahead, KJ.
Yes,
Plug
yes.
this.
So, and Ben, as he said, I could call him Ben. He's also been in Guardians of the Galaxy, and he is the voice of Dutch for Red Dead Redemption. So there were so many cool things that we got to talk about. I'm going to play some clips on the KJ Today Show, which is the next one is next Wednesday night. So we have the kind of nerdy girls coming up this Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then next Wednesday, the 7th, will be the full KJ Today Show with Tia. If you haven't heard, she's joined as a regular cast member of KJ Today. So I'm going to play some clips back from the Benjamin Byron Davis interview. But if you want to go watch it right now, honestly, he's just like a delightful person and super great energy. And he was so excited and fun to talk to about, creating Dutch for Red Dead Redemption and then having it become a fan favorite and then being on the other side of this fan favorite video game and having the pressure of having to play a character that people already love. It was an interesting, different take on, coming from one video game to the other video game. But that is streaming now on Geek Vibes Nation YouTube. So subscribe to us here on KJ Today. go subscribe to Geek Vibes Nation because they're covering everything. I just get to hop in and help out once in a while.
You do an amazing job, KJ. You also got to speak with Meg Donnelly from the Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3, as well as Butch Luchik, which was awesome. And then we have a few other of those interviews coming out as well.
Oh my gosh, I got to spend my whole afternoon talking about the Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was awesome.
See, DC. We talk about DC.
We do. And you know, I did watch, I didn't finish it, but I did watch some of that trilogy. And nice. It is pretty cool. Like I think that we want the DC movies to be on the level that everything else is, the TV shows. I know, there was the Superman and Lois panel at San Diego, and that, I mean, is going to be so emotional that's the end. Like that's the end of the Arrowverse. When that show ends, there is no more Arrowverse on. Like it's done.
That's sad to think about, but
it is.
The actor who played, I forget his name, Tyler something, I think.
Tyler Hoechlin.
Yeah, I mean, he played a great Superman. I think that needs to be recognized when we're thinking about great live action Superman.
Yes. Well, and if you haven't watched Superman and Lois, I'm not a big Superman fan. I don't hate Superman, but I just think the storyline is kind of weak, and we've been over that. Like, oh no, this rock is oh, we've stopped you. Ha ha ha. But Tyler Hoechlin playing the role of Superman as a father to two teenage boys is like that's his kryptonite. It was done so well. So if you haven't, because I know a lot of people, I did too, kind of like the Arrowverse got kind of big, and I think the Flash maybe went a few seasons longer than it needed to. It just
like 4 seasons longer than it needs.
Got kind of convoluted, but Superman and Lois you could watch on its own, and it was a really, really great story of Superman, and I'm gonna be really sad to see it go.
Aw, well, I know. Well, at least it got 5 seasons. And yeah, I mean, I've never watched it before, but I'd be inclined to check it out one day.
I recommend it.
Okay.
And then one last thing out of San Diego, if you are a Doctor Who fan and you did not see it, they did. I was surprised at how much footage they actually released from the Christmas special. It's a nice amount of footage. It's going to give you a tease from what you can expect from the Christmas special. It looks fantastic. It looks like it's going to be so much fun. And then they also announced the spinoff, which we'll talk more about this in the Kind of Nerdy Girls on Wednesday. I'm just going to say, like, of all of the villains, aliens that they could have picked to do a spinoff for Doctor Who, this is my least favorite.
Oh no.
I'm having a really hard time being excited about it.
Oh, that's awful.
I was like, wait, that's the spinoff? Okay.
It's like, you better do something really good to sell me on this. All right.
Yes, for sure. Well, thank you, Tia, for popping in and giving us an extended version of what's popping and not making us wait until next week to talk about all the fun stuff. Do you have any interviews or anything else coming this week that we need to let people know about?
I've been a little quiet on the interview front, so nothing for me right now. I'm a little bit more working behind the scenes and editing people's interviews and getting them out. So, but hopefully soon.
Me.
I'll let the professionals get to it.
All right. Well, we will chat again on Wednesday. All things Kind of Nerdy. The Kind of Nerdy Girls will be live on the KJ Today YouTube channel. And again, please make sure you head over to Geek Vibes Nation if you haven't already, and subscribe to their YouTube and follow them on all of the social media places. Bye, Tia.
Bye.